Lauren, this is yours. I'll go ahead and give this to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then Clara.
Okay, I sure will.
Oh, sweet. If you see her.
Saw it earlier. It's like
Oh, Clara, there's yours right there. Awesome. Oh, that one right there. Yeah. I'm trying to think who all we're missing.
Wendy's another one.
I'd run it up for sure.
Hey, Wendy.
Yeah, I'd run it up for sure.
Why?
Because if you start moving around a little bit, you don't want it to move a whole lot. So it'll come off this way.
It's kind of stuck on something. There we go. Thank you, Boone. We still have a few more people. Are you doing Sunday Sweat?
Yeah. Are you?
I have to do a qualifier workout with Sean, but we'll be here.
Okay. Yeah. I'm taking notes.
Aw. Who all are we missing? Yes. In my bag somewhere.
No. Not gonna beat him. We're gonna beat everybody else.
Laura's gonna get that green egg. I'm kidding. Hey, Judd. Judd. Hello. Judd, here's a pin. Oh. Hey, Courtney. All right, guys, if you haven't gotten your meal plan folder, oh no, you're good. It's gonna be somewhere over here. So I handed most of you yours, but it'll have your name on the front. So go ahead and grab that. Hello, Rebecca. I mean, no one's put their scores in. No one has. No one's put their scores in. What did you look at it today? What? Yeah, but they're due Monday. So.
I mean, yeah, but when you scroll down, like...
I haven't seen anyone signed up that I know. Other than Yadza Trzakowski or whatever her name is.
The top, like, 100 people that are registered have put their scores in.
But, like, as far as people that you know? I don't know any of those. Yeah. See, that's
But,
the
like,
thing.
I feel like the people that
I'm
we
just
do
kind of
know-
scared people are going to come out of the woodworks. Yeah, Judd's head is going to be... But you're sweet. You're sweet. I'll see, like, how it ends up, but... I wish y'all would just submit your scores and all 5 of us could make it. We could all go. Wendy, did you find your thing? Okay, your meal plan? Oh, no, just the folder.
Oh, yeah, I got
Yeah,
that.
and don't leave without me setting that up. I'll make sure. Who else are we missing?
This is a stacked crew.
Right here.
If anyone needs like a pen or anything, I have some, but you probably don't really need to take notes. We're just gonna kind of talk the whole time. All right. All right. We're gonna wait a few more minutes and then we will get started. Laminin, Jared. Do you know if Jared's coming, Casey?
I don't think so.
He's not coming? Okay. And then Asia. JW. All right. John, did you get your folder? Yeah. Okay. Sweet. All right. All right, guys. So, do you want to sit down? You okay? Are y'all sure?
Yeah.
Okay. If y'all get tired, then please pull it.
Stools too.
Yeah, we have stools right here.
I'm good.
Oh, sure? Okay.
Been sitting all day.
Okay. All right, guys. We'll kind of just hop in because most people that are not here either told me they can't come or they'll be a little bit late. So I will respect all of y'all's time. Thank you all for being here on a Sunday because I know Saturday probably would have been more ideal for the majority of us. So thanks for taking time out of your Sunday to be here. But super excited for this 6-week challenge. I think y'all kind of impressed me with how many people just bought in and are super committed and told me they're all in to the 6-week challenge. And I think it's going to be really cool, especially having getting to look around and see who all's doing it so that we can know, like in classes, like you'll be able to know like who all is participating and who all can hold us all accountable throughout the whole process. So, hey Mike, you can grab your little thing on the your folder and your plan. But we'll kind of just jump in, and I will respect y'all's time. I know some of you are doing Sunday sweat and some of you do need to get out of here, so we will not go past 3. I anticipate this being done around 2:45. So just know we're gonna try and hit a bunch of different things, and I'm gonna go as fast as I can and respect y'all's time. But we'll kind of just jump in, and I tried to use the PowerPoint strategy of just putting a few words on and not overdoing it with words. So kind of want to set up the way that the seminar is going to go in terms of what we're going to cover. Be prepared. I'm going to start out initially talking a lot about behaviors and mindset and things that you may not understand how they're correlated to nutrition initially. But my personal philosophy with nutrition is that everyone sitting in this room, all of y'all know more than you think you know about nutrition. The difference is the things that we know and then the things that we actually do. You may think you don't know anything about nutrition. You may not know what a macro is. You may not know how to count your calories. All of that stuff is important in the long run, but I know everyone sitting here knows that sleep is important, knows that hydration is important, and knows that basically eating whole foods is important. But how many of us actually do that on a consistent basis all the time? And so my philosophy is teaching people how to have a healthy mindset around food, healthy habits that we can actually make manifested in our life, that we can walk in, and then that's going to give us great results without overcomplicating nutrition. Okay, so just know we're going to talk a little bit about that to start off, and then we'll get into kind of the fun stuff like macros, calorie counting, all of that. We'll kind of just hit on that. And then why are you here? I think it's important that we establish 3 reasons why I think all of us are here today at a nutrition seminar. Number 1 is that we all care about our health and our fitness. That is evident in the fact that we're all members at a CrossFit gym and that we all consistently show up to work out, and that you've invested your money in a CrossFit gym. You've also invested your money in this challenge, and I think that means you've already taken the first step. So you're all already on the right track. But we also have to think about why nutrition seminars are even a thing, why nutrition challenges are a thing. And I think that's because we've all experienced failure in the area of nutrition. And there's a reason why on New Year's resolutions that nutrition and fitness continually show up every year is because we all experience failure in the years prior, which I think is largely due to overcomplicating the process. So my goal today, in a nutshell, is to add value to you in the area of nutrition and to show you that it's a lot less complicated than we make it out to be. Okay, so just laying the groundwork for that. All right, so some of us here have our L1s, so I'm sure you have seen this before. But if you're familiar at all with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, this is basically CrossFit's version of the hierarchy of fitness, basically. So Greg Glassman, the guy that created CrossFit, created this little paradigm, this diagram. And basically the premise of this diagram is that nutrition is the foundation. There's an article on the CrossFit Journal that basically it's basically a long journal article talking about why nutrition is the basis of health and fitness. The guy that created a fitness methodology says that nutrition is the most important thing for our health. So I think that says a lot. Like, he created a business for himself and he's not even marketing metabolic conditioning as the most important thing. So I think that says a lot. Nicole Carroll, she works for CrossFit HQ. I'm sure you've seen her on the open live stream before. She says, I wrote her quote down. She says, each level builds on the level below it. If your nutrition sucks, then these things above it will not be where they could be if your nutrition were to be more solid. So I don't need to prove to y'all the importance of nutrition, but I'm just trying to start out and re-emphasize how important it is coupled with CrossFit to get the results that you want, okay? So Greg Glassman, again, the guy that created this, the guy that created CrossFit. A lot of people don't like him, but he's a really smart guy. He said, combining CrossFit training methodology with a diet of, you've heard Jake say it, meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and no sugar will create a jet stream of adaptation. So if you bust your butt in the gym all the time, but your diet sucks, then you're just gonna be barely progressing, if at all, because you can't work out a bad diet. But Greg Glassman says we can have a jet stream of adaptation, get to our results way faster if we couple the two, fitness and nutrition, okay? All right. Okay, so Sean's gonna love this because his favorite book right now, has anyone read Built to Last by Jim Collins? Has anyone heard of it? Okay, a lot of y'all, good. Okay, so I just listened to it on audiobook because Sean was raving about it and I was kind of just trying to listen to get him to stop talking about it, but it was actually amazing. And the premise of the book boils down to one word, and Jim Collins basically uses this in a business analogy, but I think it applies to every area of life, and that's the word vision. He basically describes the difference in great companies and good companies. Separated by the great companies are motivated by a vision. They have a vision that's bigger than themselves, something that's driving them, that's their compass, and that anchors them down to keep them bought into the process and to do things with the long term in mind. So I asked all of you on your Google form in a very secretive way to tell me your vision. I asked you your why behind fitness and health, and like why you even care to sign up for a nutrition seminar and invest time and money and energy in this process. And all of you basically gave me your vision, okay? And I know you all remember your why, and you know that little section that I got y'all to copy down. So I'm gonna keep this anonymous, but I do wanna read some of these because I think that it's really important that we capitalize on this to keep us balled in for 6 weeks, because 6 weeks is a long time. But if we can focus more on really why we're doing this, as opposed to having a six-pack, which might be a goal for some of us, and that's great, and that'll keep us motivated in the short term, but in the long term, there's things that y'all told me that are way more important that we can hold each other accountable to, okay? So I just wanna read some of these so that y'all will know, you know, when people in the room might get discouraged or tempted to kind of like stray from the process, maybe that you can, you know, hold someone accountable to something deeper that's keeping them balled in, okay? So one of you said your why is because you want to be able to keep up with your kids and future grandkids one day. Someone said my why is because I want better relationships because I'm taking care of myself. Someone said that they want to enjoy being and feeling young. It helps me mentally. They want to prevent disease that runs in their family. I feel better mentally, emotionally, and physically when I exercise daily and consistently eat well. I want to feel comfortable and happy in my skin, and I want to achieve that the right way by not under-eating and thinking that it will get me there, so that I can live my best life as a friend, daughter, employee, and steward of the body God has given me, so that I will be free to love and serve and give in every way possible. Someone said my body is a gift and I want it to work for a long time. I want to set healthy habits now so that when I get older, I'll be in a better place. And then this is one of my favorite ones. You only get one body. It's the only thing that you take with you 24/7, so I want to take care of it and give myself the best chance to live my life to the max. Okay, so I just want y'all to keep those things in mind throughout this process. It's not just about looking good without our clothes on. That's important, that's a byproduct, but there's more important things that we need to keep as our vision, okay? All right, next, this is kind of harsh, but just want to set the groundwork. Sometimes you're not gonna feel like eating healthy. You're not gonna feel like working out. You're not going to feel like doing things that we need to do. And I think it's really important to understand the difference in listening to our body and then sometimes telling our feelings to shut up, okay? Sounds really aggressive, but you'll have a lot of success if you can learn to control your feelings. I think this is why we have an obesity epidemic in America, is because we listen to our body, and if we want something, or listen to our body in the wrong way, in our feelings, and we just consume what we want, and then we end up with an obesity crisis, pediatric diabetes, all of that. So understand that sometimes you are going to feel like having a hamburger instead of eating chicken and rice and vegetables. But if you can tell yourself that it's better for you in the long run, and your feelings are lying to you sometimes, and they will jeopardize your success, then you'll be set up for success, okay? So, and if you're familiar with Mel Robbins, I love her. I've recently been really interested in some of her stuff. She says, if you listen to what you feel when it comes to getting what you want, you will not get it. So, just throwing that out there. And also, like, one thing I do want to say, humans, we're hardwired to get settled in routines, basically. So we like to eliminate as much thought and willpower in our regular daily routine as possible. And that's why sometimes we'll be driving home from work and all of a sudden you're at home and you have no idea how you got there. That's because we're so used to a routine, we don't even have to think anymore. And so sometimes that cliche phrase about nothing good happens inside your comfort zone, it's cliche, but it's true. Sometimes you have to do things that are a little bit uncomfortable, that take a little bit more than what's routine to produce growth. And then that becomes routine. Okay, so that's the goal. Okay, so want to go ahead and talk about 2 myths surrounding nutrition. We have myth number 1 depicted in this picture and myth number 2 depicted in this picture. And then we'll talk about the realities around nutrition in a second. But basically there's a guy I really respect in the nutrition realm. His name is Brian St. Pierre. He's affiliated with Precision Nutrition. And he talks about 2 clients that he had named Bill and Anika. And they depict both of these myths. So I'm just gonna basically tell y'all what he wrote in an article. So he talks about Bill, who is your average dad, doesn't really look super impressive, but he just wanted to go from like dad bod to a little bit more healthy. He's coming off his 30-pound weight loss journey, and then he's meeting with Brian, who's a nutrition coach, to try and establish his next goal. He meets with Brian and he's like, Brian, I've set my sights on getting 6-pack abs. This guy lost 30 pounds, which is incredible. Like that's an amazing feat, but he, to put it not harshly, he was nowhere close to getting abs. And so he just was convinced that his physique would be finished and complete if he just added a little bit more exercise and put a little bit more thought into what he ate, and then he would get abs. Okay, so that was myth number 1, and then I'll explain it later. So this is Bill. And then Anika describes the myth number 2. She's a girl who just wants to get a little bit fitter and a little bit healthier. She meets with Brian and she is scared to death that her life is going to be flipped upside down on its head, that she's going to have to change everything, and that her life is going to be consumed by massive sacrifice and painful deprivation around food. She'll never be able to enjoy anything else, just to get a little bit healthier and a little bit fitter. Okay? This is a picture of cutting an almond, by the way, if you can't tell what it is. This is Anika. So basically, they reflect 2 myths that really surround the realm of nutrition with culture in general, is that just to get a little bit healthier, our life has to change dramatically. And I'm gonna just describe these myths in 2 words. Basically, we can get shredded 6-pack abs with just a little more thought and a little bit more exercise. That's a myth. Myth number 2 is that complete deprivation equals a little bit healthier. Both false. So what are the realities? Reality number 1, the way that you lost the first 10 pounds is not how you will lose the next 10 pounds. So Bill, who lost 30 pounds, eating a little bit healthier and actually thinking about what he's eating, once he got happy with a healthier body, all of a sudden thought he could get 6-pack abs doing the exact same thing, and that's not reality. And you shouldn't be discouraged by that, because to lose 30 pounds is an incredible feat, but things have to change depending on what you want to get out of your health and fitness. Okay, so, and I've not been timing myself, so I'll make sure I'm staying on track. Reality number 2, looking like Katrin David's daughter, Rich Froning, Sarah Sigmund's daughter, all of them comes at a much higher cost than I think the general population actually even understands. Okay, so you have to remember that these people get paid to look a certain way. They get paid to perform a certain way. So they're able to put in much higher of a cost, much more dedication, much more intentionality, because they get paid to do it. Every one of us sitting in this room today, unless I'm, unaware, I'm not getting paid to look a certain way. I'm just trying to be healthier and live longer, okay? Jake is getting paid to look a certain way, but but he's the only exception. So just know that comes at a much higher cost than I think anyone in this room is willing to pay, okay? And in reality, it's probably not as healthy as we think it is. They all are tearing their bodies down to a point that's not healthy, if you ask me. Some people would disagree with me, but they get paid to do it. Okay, reality number 3, small adjustments lead to noticeable improvements over time. So this is where I want all of us to sit, okay? Most of us just really want to get a little bit better at Jake's workouts and not die, live a long life, be able to keep up with our grandkids, and be a healthy person who's comfortable in our skin, okay? So that does not take what Anika thought was flipping her world upside down. Most of us, if we cut out the sodas, drank one less that we did, if we drink 4 sodas a week and cut down to 3, we'll see improvements. If we cut out all of them, great, we'll see insane improvements. It's not, we don't have to do everything all at once, okay? So the goal is to build over time on small things, okay? Next thing, just want to hit on goal setting. I was tempted to put up SMART goals, but I feel like all of you would get would want to leave if I did that. So I dumbed it down to 3 things about goal setting. I think one of the most important things you can do is set performance goals, especially like in the gym, that will help you with your nutrition. It kind of gets your mind off the food, and it reminds us that nutrition and health is a holistic, multifaceted thing. Sean, for example, when we sat down and talked about goals, he set performance goals. He didn't tell me a weight goal. He didn't tell me a body fat percentage goal. He told me he wants his snatch to be this, his clean to be this, and his mile time to be cut down to this. I mean, now obviously I can't make that happen, but I thought it was really cool to set performance goals, because then your physique becomes something that's secondary, that's going to improve with a totally different goal in mind, okay? Yeah, he already has something. I'm kidding. Okay, and then daily wins is another thing that's been huge for me. I think a lot of times failure comes when we set a goal that's way too far-sighted, and then we lose sight of it. Daily wins are literally what we can control that added up over time will lead us to our goal. If you've read Atomic Habits, you know exactly what I'm talking about. A daily win for me that I recently just implemented was drinking 3 of those 40-ounce water bottles a day. I always have said I want to drink more water, but I never had a definite system to do that. I bought a 40-ounce water bottle, told most of y'all to do that as well, and I said, okay, I'm going to drink 3 of these a day. I'm going to have 1 done after breakfast or before lunch, 1 done between lunch and my workout, and then 1 done before dinner at night, and then that way I get it all in. Daily wins builds integrity with yourself, knowing that you're going to do the things that you say you're going to do, and then success breeds success. That cycle continually builds upon itself, but we want to lower the barrier to entry and keep it as easy as possible. And then once we prove that we can do what we say we're going to do, then you can add a little bit more, add a little bit more, add a little bit more. But you don't want to start out super hard and then set yourself up for failure, essentially. Okay, last thing, hold yourself accountable. I can only speak to what we're doing because that's all, I mean, speaking from personal experience, but Sean and I are taking progress pictures every 2 days. Not because we think we're going to see any difference in a 2-day span, but because it holds us accountable.
That YouTube video is going to be on point, though.
Or what?
When you just time don't lapse them all.
Oh, yes. I'm going to put it on Instagram for all of y'all.
Keep on thinking about after we eat.
Yeah, but see, so I know my weakness is nighttime eating. Like, I can do great all day, track my macros, and then if I get really, really hungry at night, I'm tempted to just eat everything in sight. But we strategically had planned our progress pictures right after dinner, so that it's holding me accountable to not wanting to look bloated and pregnant when I'm taking my progress picture. Not because I think I'm gonna have abs in 2 days, okay? So find creative ways to hold yourself accountable. Okay, what will success look like? I hit on this earlier. Success is multifaceted, like I said. It is not about a number on the scale or your body fat percentage. If we improve in any of these areas, then that is success in the form of health and nutrition. So remember that if I set a sleep goal or a sleep action step goal for you, it's not because I'm off track and I'm confused that this is a nutrition challenge. It's because it plays into your nutrition and it affects your nutrition, okay? So what will success look like? More energy. It'll look like more mental clarity by improving your diet. It will look like better relationships. When we feel better about ourselves, we treat people better. That's a reality. Like, I'm not a happy person when I feel like I'm not taking care of myself. We'll be more hydrated. Fat loss and weight loss will come as a byproduct. We'll have better workouts in the gym. All of this stuff, a better attention span and focus, we'll be better at work, we'll be a better employee, family member, all of that. So all of these things will improve. So remember that when we're determining success. All right, so this is one slide I'm just gonna spend a little bit of time on because I think it's super important. Has anyone read Tim Ferriss's book, Tribe of Mentors? Okay, thank you, Mike. Tim Ferriss is not my favorite person, but that's beside the point. He wrote a really good book. Basically what he did is he found some of the most successful people in every sector of life. So in the arts, in business, in fitness. Katrin Davidsdottir was one of the people he interviewed. And he asked them the same 7 questions. And his goal was to find a common thread in successful people. Like, what do all these successful people have in common in very different areas of life that make them successful? He did not come up with these. I'm a little happy to say I came up with these after reading the book, but basically I'm going to use CrossFit as an analogy to why we're so consistent in the gym, but with nutrition, why we struggle so much, okay? But I got a lot of it from Tim Ferriss's book. Okay, so CrossFit as an analogy. A lot of us here, actually I know all of us here, are incredibly consistent with our fitness regimen. A lot of us probably do think that we can outwork a bad diet, because I thought that for a really long time. Sometimes I still think it in the way that I live. I know it's not true, but I still act like it sometimes. But with CrossFit, there is something that keeps people consistent. And I'm like, what is it? And I think it's these 4 things: investment, accountability, preparation, and action. With CrossFit, you pay a monthly unlimited membership. You pay for an unlimited membership, not 3 days a week. So we're much more likely to try and get out of it what we're paying, which is unlimited. You pay on a monthly basis, you've invested, you have skin in the game. We were talking about earlier at church today, people that buy their own car treat it better. People that put money into something are gonna get more out of it, most likely. So investment with CrossFit, you've done that. Accountability, CrossFit prides itself in community and the power of community and accountability, and how that plays into your success in a fitness regimen. You have people that are expecting you at 5 a.m. I know all of y'all work out together at 5 a.m. You expect to see each other. That's accountability. And you'd probably be concerned if one of you wasn't there for a week, and you would probably text. Judd, our joy girl, holds everyone accountable.
None of you have ever made the list, so y'all are very consistent.
Yeah, see? So the coaches hold everyone accountable to the classes that we know most people come to. You sign in, that holds you accountable. If you've signed in, you're outside the window, you're more likely to come. So CrossFit's created a really powerful system of accountability, and I think that's what keeps people successful in their fitness regimen. Preparation, all you have to do is show up. The workout is written, Rebecca's at the board, she already has a warm-up planned. You don't have to exert any mental energy other than showing up and doing what she tells you to do. Okay, so that makes the system a lot more streamlined. All you have to do is show up. The last part is action. This is really the only thing on your part as far as CrossFit goes. You just show up and do the workout. You drive yourself to the gym, get out, stand at the whiteboard, you're done. So I was thinking, how do I take these 4 principles and apply that to nutrition to create the same consistency and success with nutrition? And I'm sorry, I don't want to ramble on this. I'm going to go really quick, but basically, you've done the first 2 with this nutrition challenge. You've invested in a 6-week challenge. You have skin in the game, you're balled in. Most of you told me you're 10 out of 10 committed to the process. So you've invested. Accountability, you have a partner. I purposely made this a partner challenge so that you can hold each other accountable, and that will have layers. So you have your partner, then you have all of the coaches who know who all is doing the challenge. You have everyone else in the challenge holding you accountable, and then you also have the community of people at Laminin holding you accountable. So there's multiple layers to fall back on. Preparation, we'll talk about this later with meal prep. That's going to be a huge part of your success, is being prepared. Zig Ziglar says, not Zig Ziglar, what did he say? Okay, it doesn't matter what Zig said, but basically it's talking about you have to be prepared. So that's going to be something that's going to keep you really successful for the long run, especially these 6 weeks. And then finally, action. I can't want it more than you do. I can promise y'all I want this so bad for all of y'all. I've never invested more time in like one event than I have this, because I'm so passionate about people understanding that it's not as hard as we make nutrition out to be. And all of you, after meeting with all of you, you're all so committed to your goals, and it's so motivating. And so I want more than nothing else for everyone to see the success that y'all tell me that you want, but I can't want it more than you. So this is where, same as driving to the gym, I really have to have action on y'all's part as well to the process, because I've tried to make it as streamlined as possible. Okay, I always say that there's no secret sauce. There is, and it's your system. Like I alluded to earlier with Atomic Habits, one of my favorite quotes by James Clear. Jake said it before. We don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. And with nutrition, our systems are gonna be meal prep and are going to be consistently working out. And there's and getting sleep, eating whole foods, and then getting enough water. And we'll hit all of that later. But just know your system's gonna be vital. Okay, what should you focus on? I'm gonna start going a little bit faster until we get to the macro stuff, just so we can kind of be done in time. But basically, are you consistently eating every 3 hours? That's not setting a reminder every 3 hours to eat. What this means is like blood glucose stabilization. So as long as you're not going hours without eating, then you're doing good. I basically told most of you a snack between breakfast and lunch and a snack between lunch and dinner is gonna accomplish that first one for us. A snack that's well balanced with protein, carbs, and fat, or just protein and fat, or just carbs and protein. You don't ever really wanna have like one macro only. Like you don't usually want just a carb or just a fat. Just a protein's okay sometimes, but basically we want to be well balanced. That's the point. Focus on getting enough water, focusing on eating around your workouts. All that means is I've talked to you if I think that we should add in a post-workout shake or post-workout carbs, so you know who you are if that applies to you. And then trying to limit for the challenge eating out as much as possible and focusing on quality over quantity. If you are eating quality foods, this will usually not be a problem. Most of the time, if you're eating something from the ground or something that has a mother, like an animal, that's what that means. Not mother. I said that one time and someone was like, oh, a mother in, what's the fat fermented stuff, or the fermented stuff?
Oh, kombucha.
Kombucha. I was like, I guess that would count, but I'm talking about like an animal. So if you eat quality foods, you're gonna be much more satisfied. So really quantity does not become a huge issue at that point. Okay, I've talked to most all of you about the plate method. This is your default. So for the people that I have determined it is appropriate to start with food tracking, it's not always possible to do that every single day. Sometimes life gets crazy, you forget your meal prep at home. What I want everyone to resort to is the plate method, okay? So if I have to go out during this challenge to a restaurant, then you want to structure your plate in this fashion. Half of your plate being vegetables, some type of leafy green, a non-starchy carb, which we'll talk on later, a fourth of your plate, which is about a full like handful of your whole grain, which is like rice, sweet potato, squash, the starchy carbs, and then about a fist-sized portion of your lean protein, okay? So that's, you always have a fist with you. You can always estimate and use the plate method, okay? So that's what we revert to as our default. Okay, now we kind of hit on the macronutrients. I know some of us know what those are, and then some of us don't. So I'm not gonna dive in super deep because I don't think that's gonna be beneficial for us to know the chemistry behind macros. I'm gonna tell you what I think is important to make us successful as far as tracking goes and food logging, okay? Carbohydrates, gas is to a car as carbs are to our body, okay? Carbs are demonized in the realm of nutrition. Mommy bloggers, all these, not hating on keto, but like all these people demonize carbs, but it's just because we're really misinterpreting their role. Carbs are good if you eat the right ones in appropriate amounts. Especially for everyone in this room who does CrossFit, we all need to be eating them, okay? They're the fuel that fuels our daily living activities and they fuel our workouts. The main thing we need to know about carbs is you have this thing called the GI index, glycemic index. I'm not gonna dive into it, but all you need to know is that foods that are high on the glycemic index means it's gonna shoot your blood sugar up, okay? Those are gonna be your berries, a lot of your fruits. There's gonna be either Gatorade powder, things that are higher in sugar, okay? It can, Skittles, yes, Skittles. It can be natural sugar or processed sugar, but anything that shoots your blood sugar up is high on the GI index. Foods that are low on the GI index are usually going to be the ones that are really, really high in fiber, okay? So fiber is a non-digestible carb. It keeps you fuller longer because it doesn't shoot your blood sugar up, okay? The high fiber foods that are low on the GI scale are what we want to put in our main meals, structure our main meals around. So like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we're gonna wanna fill those up with high fiber carbs, which are like our whole grains, some fruit. Most of our veggies are gonna be high in fiber, oatmeal, oats, all that stuff. So that's what you would structure your meals around. And then post-workout is when the high GI foods are okay, because you've expended a ton of energy and you need to replenish those glycogen stores with foods that are higher in glucose content, whether it's natural or Gatorade powder, unnatural, okay? And then the only other thing I want to hit on with carbs is artificial sweeteners versus stevia and sugar. Sugar is a carb. Sean actually sent me a research article that I read recently about stevia. I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with stevia, but it's a natural sweetener. And this research article basically highlighted the way that sugar makes us crave more sugar, and then how stevia does not do that, but it's still a sweetener. So moral of the story, stevia is an incredible option for those of you who I've recommended cutting out a certain type of sugar, whether that be Coke or sugar in your coffee, whatever it is. This is a great substitute because it doesn't make you crave more sugar and it still sweetens. So that's all I want to hit on carbs. Okay, sources of carbs, I already talked about this. Are starchy complex carbohydrates. These are the starchy ones that are higher on the GI scale that you want to limit. Still eat, but not eat huge portions of. Those are your berries, your starchy veggies, like your squashes, and then your starches, like your potatoes. Okay, so things that are a little bit more dense carbohydrate-wise. And then the non-starchy vegetables are the ones we want to load up half of our plate on because they're not as carbohydrate dense. Those are going to be your leafy greens, your broccoli, your cauliflower, all of that. You can never really eat too much of those because you're gonna get full really quick on those, okay? So even if you never logged broccoli, if I told you to track your food, I'm okay with that because it's not super dense. All right, here's just some options of good starchy carbohydrates. I've told most of you this in terms of the people that ask like what are good carbs to put in around my meals. Quinoa and couscous is great. They are higher in carbs, but it's a good whole grain, high fiber source of carbs. Acorn squash, butternut squash, sweet potatoes are amazing. I've told most all of you to add that into your diet if you don't already. Oatmeal, and then brown rice. So basically, these are just some options for you to play with. Okay, protein. The main point with protein is we want to try and keep it as lean as possible most of the time. I'm not one of those people that say to cut out red meat. I think that if you want to add it in moderation, I think that that's okay. But I think more times than not, you need to keep it lean, okay? So for at least one meal a day, try and keep it at either fish, chicken, egg whites in the morning, or legumes if you don't eat meat, and then leaner turkey meat. And then things like eggs are like a combo food because it has fat and protein in higher amounts. So that's one that you would want to keep more moderated. Maybe mix 2 eggs mix 2 eggs with egg whites rather than 4 whole eggs, okay? Because then that lowers the fat content. All right, here's some options of protein. We have like turkey burgers, a great option, grilled chicken, boiled eggs. They last for a really long time, so that's a great meal prep option. This is a stuffed pepper with rice and lean turkey meat. I know a lot of y'all do that, and that's a really great option for meal prep, and then fish as well. So, okay, and then fat. This is one that I think is also really misunderstood. Fat's really important in terms of hormonal health. Omega-3 fatty acids are really important for joint health and